I'm telling you, we should get rid of time zones.
Yes, it would make perfect sense for Japan to be a completely same time zone as the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's all arbitrary anyway. 12 o'clock p.m. doesn't have to be sun. It could be like how Australia, how like December, it's summer there. We managed fine with that. It's like, oh, we don't like shift their year calendar around so that December for them is our June so that they can have the same weather pattern, because we just accept that they have different weather at different times of the year. They have different sunlight, different times of the day.
So it should just be midnight somewhere is working hours.
Yeah.
I'm not against that. I just don't think you're going to convince anybody that we should do that.
Because people are stupid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spook Retorts.
Oh!
Solid yell.
Thank you.
Scream.
I was practicing.
I don't know. Whatever that was.
I don't know what it was. It sounded like a little whale, you know?
Yeah, it was great. I love it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Look, Danielle, I'm trying to get into the theme here. We're excited. It's spooky time.
It's possibly our 4th annual Spook Retorts.
I lost track.
We're pretty
I'm
sure.
too scared. Yeah.
Might be
That's
the 3rd, but
crazy.
we're pretty sure it's the 4th. I think it's the 4th, Sam, because I'm pretty sure, like, we did Spook Retorts almost immediately.
Yeah, because we just started in the summer.
Yeah, so.
Crazy,
this is our
Danielle.
4th one.
4 spook retorts.
I know.
I never thought I could be so spooked.
You remember when we were really organized and we used to like talk it all out and plan it, and it was a whole thing and it ran the whole month, and now it's just like winging it?
Clearly we've settled into our comfort zone.
And you may notice, everybody, that I am talking a lot. That's because I'm doing the Spook Retort, even though I did Simply Irresistible, because there's 3 of us doing Hyperion now, and it's hard to do 3 people.
You could call that a 3-body problem?
Yeah,
Hey-o.
so our next one will be Hyperion, no doubt, which is always spooky.
Yeah, well, especially for you, because you have to remember what happened in the previous episode.
Yeah, I don't remember anything from Endymion to Endymion Boogaloo.
Great. Sure, perfect.
So that'll be fun.
Can't wait.
But this week, Sam,
Oh, you can take the whole year for Spook Retorts. I'm excited.
we are doing the classic, absolutely fabulous movie of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Why is there a witch in a Halloween? Isn't it Michael Myers, right?
It is absolutely not Michael Myers. Spoiler.
Wait, but the Halloween franchise is Michael Myers, right?
It is, but
So why is there a witch?
I read online that originally, I think it was Carpenter, wanted to do an anthology. That was the idea behind the Halloween movies. And so he was going to do like a Halloween-themed mystery murder
For every
mayhem.
movie, that was like a different creature or monster.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
this was that kind of, he got talked into
What
the
was
second
Halloween
one.
2?
It was Michael Myers because he got talked into a sequel because the first one did well.
Okay.
And
so he's
then-
like, I'm going to do an anthology after the second one.
Yeah, because he probably got mad that they had like taken it away from him. I don't know, Sam.
That's valid. The creative freedom.
You will never guess the plot of this movie, though. I promise you that.
Let me guess. Is there a witch involved?
Of sorts, sure. Like, sure.
What? It's called Season of the Witch, Danielle. There better be a freaking witch involved. Or I'm gonna
I cannot tell you. I cannot express to you the plot of this movie. I'm going to give you the little summary, but I promise
what are we going to
you.
do here today that you can't tell me the plot of the movie?
It covers nothing that actually happens in this movie.
Sure.
This is one of those movies that people either think is like an underrated gem of a movie, or people are like, what the heck is going on in this thing?
I can tell where you land already.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know if
You
I'd
love
say to
it.
watch it, but
Masterpiece. 10
I'm
out of
going to
10.
send you the summary. It's even a longer one. You're going to be so proud.
But it's entirely irrelevant.
It is, but we love stuff like that.
Sure. Great. All right. It starts with a quote from who? I don't know, but there's a quote that says, "It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking."
Dun, dun, dun.
Who's supposed to be? Is that the witch saying that? I don't know.
No, it's a commercial, actually.
What? Okay. Did not expect those 3 words. A terrified toy salesman is mysteriously attacked. Is this Toys, a sequel to Toys?
Yes.
At the hospital, he babbles and clutches the year's most popular Halloween costume, an eerie pumpkin mask. Why is that the most popular Halloween? I was trying to figure
Sam, I have questions about this. We will get into it later.
Okay. Suddenly, Dr. Danielle Chalice?
Yes.
Tom Atkins, the Fog, Night of the Creeps, so he's the venerable one.
Yeah, he's apparently in a ton of old scary movies.
Finds himself thrust into a terrifying Halloween nightmare. Working with the salesman's daughter, Ellie, Daniel traces the mask to the Silver Shamrock Novelties Company. This sounds like a Scooby-Doo episode.
And its founder is, man. It's weird.
And its founder, Colonel Cochran?
Nope. Connell.
I thought that was just misspelled Colonel.
No, it is not. It's Connell Cochran.
Dan O'Hurley from RoboCop. Who was he in RoboCop? Was he the RoboCop?
I don't know. See if I don't know. I
You
haven't seen
can't put RoboCop in. You're not telling me who the RoboCop
I didn't
was.
put it in there. Somebody wrote it. I just copied and pasted it.
Ellie and Danielle uncover a shocking Halloween plan and must stop it before trick-or-treaters across the country never come home in this terrifying thriller from writer-director Tommy Lee Wallace, Stephen King's It. I thought this was a Carpenter thing.
Well, he's involved in it, but he was not, super involved in it.
I like John Carpenter, but...
Yeah. But this was the idea. It was supposed to be an anthology, so they ran with that idea.
All right. I'm already baffled.
It gets worse, trust me.
All right, Danielle. Spookify me with the Season of the Witch.
All right.
Does it have that song in the movie?
Which, the Season of the Witch?
Yeah.
Great question. Don't recall.
Oh, what a missed opportunity.
I'm sure it does. Let's pretend it does. All right. Print comes on screen. Northern California, October. A man runs down a dark street in panic. A pumpkin mask tucked into his belt. Glancing behind him, a car follows. He runs to a local business. It's it has almost like a contracting lot or something. And he pulls at the doors to see if they'll open as the car slows. And he ducks, hiding from them. But as he backs up without looking, he runs into a suited young man with gloves on. And with very limited fight or noise, he drops to the ground as the man tries to choke him. It was fight harder.
Your life is at stake, man. Put up your dukes.
The older man reaches for a chain that ends up attached to a cement block that's tucked under a tire. And somehow he managed to yank hard enough on it that magically the block moves and the car moves forward somehow. Very slowly, mind you.
So he basically chalked this car up so it wouldn't drive. It had a brick on the accelerator, was pointing downhill or whatever.
No, he didn't do anything. He just reaches his hand out and happens to grab the
So there's already a chalked car in this construction lot or whatever.
Yeah, there's I don't know why. I don't know why.
Okay, so somebody set up this Rube Goldberg machine already in this lot with a car that's been chalked up on a concrete block, ready to roll down and crush somebody very slowly. And he's like, oh, score! Let me pull this chain and start this murder machine rolling. Thank you, Jigsaw, for setting this up for me earlier.
It's very crazy. And the car starts to move forward.
Understood.
This is not slow motion. The car just moves very slowly, and the murderer looks up. He does not look as surprised as one should when there's a car that close to them. And then the car crunches him, but not head on. Yeah, the murderer. The car crunches him.
Who pulled the block?
The guy that was on the ground dying.
Oh, so he goes. I thought the murderer was trying to murder him with the car.
No, he's going to strangle him.
So coward McDroppy, he got lucky and someone said an anti-murder device.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened.
That's even weirder. All right.
It's super weird. And
I just had to reframe this whole thing in my head, Danielle. Sorry.
I almost wish you could watch this part because the car crushes the guy that's trying to strangle him, but not head on like you think it would if the guy turned and looked at the car. It doesn't crush him from front to back. He turns his shoulders and it crushes him side to side in his shoulders. Just hits his shoulders and somehow that crunches him and he dies. He's
so this
folded
is
in half or something.
A combination of the steamroller scene from Austin Powers and the steamroller scene from Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
You don't
very
see him
slow,
get crunched, but it's just clearly is dead. And so the older man escapes as another man in a suit gets out of the car that's been following him, and the older man runs for it.
So I don't want to besmirch this murderer, but if a car was rather slowly rolling towards me, I think I could avoid being crushed by it pretty easily.
This is one of those movies where one person's running away and the other person's walking slowly, and somehow they manage to get up to each other.
Like the Friday the 13th movies. Got
exactly.
it.
So it says an hour later, a storm has risen up in the meantime, and the man at the local gas station is watching the news. One of the bluestones at Stonehenge, which weigh like 5 tons, by the way, was lifted or just like disappeared.
Are they called bluestones?
They're called bluestones.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome. So it disappeared about 9 months ago, and the authorities are still baffled. So
someone just stole a stone from Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Was it let me guess, Danielle. It was the witch, because it's a pagan thing.
Maybe. We'll find out.
Come on. If it's not that, it'd be much funnier.
A commercial comes up on the screen, and it's the one that I was talking about earlier.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking.
Yeah, that it's...
Is it for the pumpkin mask?
It's this little singing thing that's like, there are 8 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. And so it plays in the background, really annoying, really catchy. It shows this floating kid face that turns into a skeleton and then advertises Silver Shamrock novelties. And there are apparently 3 masks to choose from: pumpkin, skeleton, and witch. They're fun. They're frightening. They glow in the dark.
Well, I'm sold. Get me one of those cursed masks right away.
1980s, man.
When was this movie made? I forgot. You told me the year.
I did not tell you the year.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
That's a great question. Let's look it up. Halloween 3.
Welcome to the Book Retorts research portion of...
1982, October 22nd.
Okay, so 1982. Perfect.
A clatter makes the gas station man check out the window, and our old man jumps out at him, collapsing, moaning that they're coming as he waves his pumpkin mask around.
Context?
Nope, we don't get any.
Okay, cool. Keep going.
Meanwhile, a different man, steps into a house asking, hey, is anybody home? Kids run out yelling, yay, daddy's here! And a woman steps out as well, seemingly vaguely annoyed. Are they married? Who knows? It kind of seems like maybe they're not.
Does she have a pumpkin mask on?
No.
Then why?
Well, he gives the kids paper bags as presents. Inside the paper bags
are pumpkin masks.
No, are generic masks. But they're not good enough. And the kids express that Mom already gave them cooler masks, and they run over and they pull out the witch and the skeleton mask from Silver Shamrock, singing the 8 More Days to Halloween song, which I will tell you now plays about 8 million times in this movie. It is so heavy-handed.
So, really, the real curse of this movie, the real scary part, is not any of the horror witch nonsense. It's the earworm that you get infected with.
God, it's terrible. So the father gets called away. Apparently, he's a doctor, and he apologizes, scoots out of there.
This is Dr. Danielle?
Yes.
Yeah. The lady's never heard from again in this movie.
He meets the gas station guy who has brought in the older guy who's collapsed or passed out or whatever. And in the background, on one of the TVs in the hospital, the Shamrock song plays. And the older man awakens with a start to it and stares at it. Yeah, and you know how, like, in movies, there's, like, the TV's completely silent, and then suddenly the thing on the TV is relevant to the plot.
What's the song again, Danielle? Could you sing it again?
It's just 8 more days till Halloween. Halloween, Halloween.
What's the tune, though? For someone who claims this is a major earworm she's had in her head for days.
I didn't say I had it in my head for days, but that's really the tune. It's like 8 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Like, it's just one of those annoying little...
Love it.
It might even be, it sounded familiar. I bet if I thought about it, maybe I could, like, pull if it was from some old nursery rhyme song.
Danielle, I'm really going to need you to sing that song every time it comes up in the movie.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Listen to it again if I'm going to do that.
Nah, I like your version better.
So anyway, like, guy wakes up with a start and stares at the screen, and he's like, they're going to kill us! And the gas station man, like, is like, yeah, cool, well, I brought him in, I'm gonna go, bye!
Bye!
He, like, kind of runs down the hall. It's sort of funny, actually.
Very good.
The guy in the suit from the car stands outside the hospital anonymously. The camera shoots over to him.
Okay, sure.
And so they get the older man all set up in a room. They've given him, like, Thorazine or something. They've knocked him out, and they leave him alone in there. And the hospital's apparently relatively small. It looks bigger later, but in this scene, it's, like, very quiet. There seems to be, like, 1 doctor on staff.
That's not
2
enough.
nurses. I don't know. Because what happens is the suited man just, like, walks in. All the hallways are dark, which is funny. I don't know why hospitals insist that you turn off all of the lights at night in a hospital. That is not how hospitals work.
That's not how, like, anything works.
They have low-level lighting in a lot of hospitals at night, but they don't have, like, the lights aren't off.
You don't go, like, we're going into spooky mode for the hospital.
Yeah, like, I've been in hospitals at night. They're just, like, you know, kind of darker.
It's like being in an airplane when they dim the lights or whatever.
Yeah, and all the main hallways have lights on. It's just like where the patients are that are a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But Danielle, The witch broke the electricity, I guess.
Yeah, that's what happens. Anyway, they leave him alone, and I said the man with the suit walks through the hallways. He somehow manages to find the room. I guess there's only one. And he, puts his fingers or his thumbs or something into the guy's eyes, and he just pushes really hard, and the camera kind of, cuts away from it. I don't know, he pokes him in the eye. It's very unclear what's going on.
So the suited man found the old man I gotta get in the hospital and pokes his eyes out?
Yeah, seemingly he just starts squeezing his eyeballs.
How did he get in?
He just walked into the hospital and just
That's
what I said,
works.
everybody's asleep or something. Where are all these people?
I guess I didn't fully grok that he just casually thrown in the hospital do here to murder your patients. So all right, sir, good luck.
He 100% just walks in there, sticks his fingers seemingly into his eyes and pushes really hard. And a nurse walks in as the killer is wiping his gloved hands on the curtain to clean them off.
Does that kill somebody? I know it gets rid of their eyes, but does it kill them?
Apparently. Yeah, we'll find out a little bit more about this later, but
okay.
I was confused as to what was happening other than the fact that he was obviously dying.
I've never murdered anybody yet. Probably never. Definitely never. Let's put that out there for if you're listening to this. I've never killed anybody and never will. But I don't know if just let me gouge your eyes out. That's the best way to murder somebody. Why did he continue strangling them?
I can't tell you, but we do get a little bit into our murder methods later. Maybe it'll make more sense.
Okay, well, I look forward to that, I guess.
So, like I said, the nurse walks in on him. The guy just turns around, walks past her, and leaves. And the nurse screams for help. She's no way tries to stop
that
him.
guy?
I guess I wouldn't stop a murderer, but whatever.
You think security would come and stop the murderer?
Yeah, I'm not paid enough to stop the guy walking out that just murdered someone.
Sure.
The doctor wakes up from his nap and runs after the man, but somehow with the man walking and the doctor running, as I said earlier, he does not catch up to him.
Just walking down the hallways of the hospital.
Yeah.
Which presumably the doctor is fairly familiar with.
Yep.
Great. Perfect. So makes perfect sense. No complaints.
And he sees him, as he's woken by the nurse's scream and, runs out, he sees the man, towards the end of the hallway, going through a door, and the nurse is like, that man, he killed him! And he, books it after him, and yet somehow doesn't catch up to the guy who's just, walking a normal pace. Amazing.
Okay. Amazing. I don't know what's going on.
You're not supposed to. The man then gets into his car, douses himself in gasoline, and sets himself on fire, which somehow explodes the entire car. Don't ask me how.
Okay, that's definitely how cars work.
It's a big explosion, and it comes out the top of the car.
Yeah, Danielle, don't you know all cars have the explosion button?
Yes. Well, obviously that Buick or whatever it was did. So the doctor's expression, this happens a lot in this movie, the doctor's expression is somehow more mildly perplexed and less horrified, which is where I feel like it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a lot less oh, well, that was weird, than, what? That's horrible.
And they all just watch the car burn. There's just a bunch of doctors and nurses, standing around.
Does nobody, call anyone? Or
well, I'm sure somebody calls somebody, but, nobody tries to get the guy out of the car. Nobody approaches the car.
Are they doctors?
No, they're all just standing there watching. They're like, oh, well, I guess the murderer dies.
That's a choice.
So the doctor then calls the woman that he saw earlier in the house, who apparently is his ex-wife, to let her know that he can't pick up the kids due to the whole murder thing. The wife is deeply not understanding about that. She's harping on him in the background. Yes.
I'm on his side here a bit. The wife's like, oh, you had to deal with the murder today? Well, that's too bad. That's I think she gets a pass for that.
Yeah, I couldn't decide if this movie was trying to show him as the put upon, man of the family situation, or if they were trying to show them both as being really obnoxious human beings, or if they
right.
I could not decide. Because I'm not sure how likable the main character is, to be honest.
Fair enough.
So the cop has the Halloween mask in his hand when the doctor goes into the room, and he's just tossing it around because I guess it's not a crime scene or anything, so whatever. He just throws it on the table, and the doctor kind of looks at it. Cut to Sunday, the 24th, which is, I assume, the next day since the crime scene investigation.
So it's 7 more days till Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween. Yeah, whatever the song is. I forgot it already.
A young woman comes into the hospital room to identify the body.
Wait a minute. I got a question. Sorry. That commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it actually change the number every
yes.
Because
yes, it does.
You have to make 7 commercials.
Yes, you do, Sam.
Or 12 commercials or whatever.
The minute I heard the 8 more days till Halloween song, I was like, that seems hard. Why would you have a countdown commercial?
Because don't you have to like book commercial slots like months in advance? That's insane. That's never going to work. That's so more complicated than just saying it's almost Halloween or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's a countdown.
Bonkers. All right, that just clicked for me. I'm sorry. I could not pay him enough attention.
It's like the minute the commercial came on and said 8 more days, I was like, why? What a stupid marketing ploy.
There was too much else going on here, Daniel. I did not even pay attention to the song.
Yeah. Anyway, woman comes in. Sorry. She's identifying the body in the hospital room, which they still have not taken out of the hospital room.
Wait, is this the guy who was supposed to be like from the old man from the summary who's supposed to be helpful in some way?
The old man who was the toy maker?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a dead guy.
It didn't mention that he died in the summary.
Yes,
I assume he was just...
Did it not? What does it say? Terrified toy salesman is mysteriously attacked. At the hospital, he babbles and clutches the year's most popular Halloween costume. He dies.
I thought he was going to be like instrumental. Like, we got to listen to this toy maker. He knows about these. They got something to tell us.
No, he just like murmurs that they're all going to kill him, and then he ends up getting murdered.
So that whole babbling thing is irrelevant.
I mean, he tried to warn them, but did they listen?
Okay.
No.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm just trying to anchor myself in my expectations, Danielle. Sorry.
Okay, well, good luck. So the sheriff, if you think this is the weird part, wait till you get to the latter half.
No, this isn't weird, Danielle. This is just perplexing. I don't know what's going on or who anything is or why it matters.
No, you're not supposed to.
Great.
So the sheriff / deputy, I don't know, seems to think that maybe the person who killed this person who's the dad of the girl who comes in, just to be clear.
Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie. That he thinks it was like some druggie or something that's come in and murdered the dad and left. But he tells the woman it's still under investigation. Tells Ellie it's still under investigation. That's
insane. Like, a drug guy's walked in, murdered a guy, and walked out. Are there like cameras in the hospital or security footage or something?
I'm sure, but maybe not in 82. I don't know.
No, fair.
Wednesday, the 27th. The doctor, Chalice.
Oh, no, Danielle. It's 5 more days to Halloween. Halloween.
Seems to be at the forensic lab. I'll tell you, every time I mention the commercial, I'll sing the little song to him.
Yay!
So the doctor, like I said, seems to be like at the forensics lab or something. He's asking a woman there for some info, and she says she doesn't have much yet. And the doctor doesn't think it was drugs. He says the man looked completely in control of himself and looked like a businessman. He was in a suit.
Yeah, businessmen don't do drugs. It's not like cocaine existed in the 80s.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
She tells him that whatever is going on, the man was very strong because you can't pull apart a skull like that without a lot of strength. So I guess that's what the murderer did.
He like ripped the guy's skull in half?
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because they do show a shot of the dead guy and he's just got like his eyes closed or something and he's kind of bloody. And I was like, that was not a pulled apart skull.
If this was John Carpenter, he would have made that skull in half. Like, I've seen the thing. Like, he does it right.
Yeah, unless maybe I just missed, maybe my brain just didn't process it, but it did not look like a pulled apart skull. He asks the tech lady to stay involved in the case and let him know any details that come up. And he heads off to a bar where there are, I don't know, cartoons on for some reason. So he asks for another channel and a Halloween movie trailer plays.
For John Carpenter's funny. Halloween?
Yeah, the original.
Okay, great. So that's
pretty funny.
The universe is all an Ouroboros eating itself.
Yeah, it was funny. And then it says, that showing of the movie is brought to you by Shamrock.
Oh no, it's back!
The daughter, Ellie, comes into the bar. I guess one of the nurses told her where he was. I don't know if he's on shift or not, so it's a little concerning that he's hanging out at a bar.
Yeah, that's a little like, you don't want to go to surgery drunk.
She asks him if her father had said anything before he died, and he tries to lie at first, but then he tells her about the Halloween mask and that they're going to kill us all, and he's freaked out because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if I would jump to, like, evil plot to murder humanity right away, but that's me.
Yeah, I don't think he went to that, but they decide to work together, I guess, and she takes him to her dad's shop. And I have no idea what kind of store this is. I know it said he was a toy maker or toy store owner.
Yeah, why is the doctor investigating the murder and not, I don't know, a police officer or detective?
Yeah, great question, Sam. Don't have an answer for you because I think it was a druggy guy that came in and murdered everybody. I don't know, maybe they didn't do any investigative work.
I really want them to call in the mystery crew, Mystery Incorporated, whatever, to get them involved, because that'd be really fun.
I will tell you now, it did not occur to me once that the police weren't doing anything. I was just like along for the ride, I guess. I was like, yeah, of course they're going to do their own investigation.
Yeah, but no, like, The doctor's like, yeah, let me go investigate this murder because that's my job. I don't have another thing I do.
And she specifically does say, like, I'm doing my own investigation. Let me show you what I've found so far. So she's Scooby-Dooing it, I guess.
Okay, fine. Okay, Nancy Drew, good luck.
So her dad apparently kept a very detailed record of his life and his day-to-day activities. And
I would never do that. How boring.
And on October 20th, he was to pick up more masks, and the doctor confirms that they're the same masks that her dad had. And on the 21st, he never showed up to dinner, which he was supposed to go to, and that was very unlike him. So she thinks her dad ran into trouble between their city, where they live, and Santa Mira, where the masks are made. So she thinks they might know something over at the mask factory, and she suggests that they go and explore.
It's convenient the masks are made right nearby.
It's not that close. It's like clearly a drive away.
Okay. Sure.
Because I do a little road trip.
Yeah, but how many mask factories do you know in your vicinity?
None.
Yeah, there you go.
But, I mean, there are factories in my vicinity. They're just not masks.
I just saying.
So the doctor calls his ex to cancel again, and she yells at him some more, and he promises to take the kids trick-or-treating and leaves with Ellie.
Or once I finish hooking up with this new lady.
Maybe. We'll find out. To be clear, he looks much older than her.
Yeah, that's never stopped movies before, Danielle.
The commercial plays again as he leaves the public phone where he's made his phone call.
Wait, it plays like on the public phone?
TV. No, it plays on the TV sets. They're like in a window, like a store window or something. Because this commercial just plays constantly.
And what a budget that commercial must have.
Ellie wants to know why the toy factory is so far out in the middle of nowhere, which I thought was funny because I was like, where else would you put a giant factory?
I can't wait to move to my new house right next door to the toy factory. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Like every factory I've ever seen is on a giant plot of land. Some of them are kind of in your cities, but like a lot of them are out in the country. Yeah, Ellie's weird. I don't like her. So Dan reads from something, I don't know, you just see the car, you don't see them talking, that details the history of the city. Apparently Santa Mira, founded in 1887, was a farming community and a dairy community. But after World War II, a wealthy Irishman, Connell Cochran, converted, I think, the dairy into a toy factory, which is now called Silver Shamrock Novelties. It's the largest mask manufacturer in the world. Also, they seemed shocked that this predominantly Irish community is involved in Halloween masks, which I think is hilarious given the history of Halloween. Yeah, like, wait. They're like, why would the Irish be involved in Halloween mask making? Is this supposed to be like they're Catholic or something, or Protestant or whatever? It was like, is there something like that going on? There's some weird like undertones about Irish people in this movie, but like I do not know what the concept of this conversation is. Like, it's weird that Irish people would be involved in Halloween masks. I'm like, not if you know the history of Halloween, because that Irish people are just people and maybe just like want to be involved in mask making. Like, who cares? Want to make some money, or like it was just weird. Is again, I'm trying to figure out where, like, I know it's racist. I'm trying to figure out how it's racist is what I was getting at there. Like, I don't know if they were like going after the stereotypes of like Irish people's religion, or stereotypes about Irish people not being entrepreneurs. Is that a stereotype? I don't know. I don't know Irish stereotype. Okay. I would go maybe more for religious. Okay. Maybe. Man, that's not a good look for this movie. No. 1982, stereotypes abound. So as they drive through town, a bunch of people watch them come in from their shop. You can tell it's like they don't have people come in very often that are outsiders. And he tells Ellie that it's a company town. So basically the entire town works for the company, the toy store. Right. They got what are they? You got the company store, and the company dollar, and the company script. That basically. So they pull up to Silver Shamrock, but decide they need a plan. I guess they didn't have one driving all the way. They're just going to go like, hey, we're going to remember this factory, just like, I don't know, see what happens. Like great investigation there, gumshoes. Well done. I don't know what the thought process was. So they decide to head back to the hotel, posing as a couple to rent rooms and pretend they're buyers of something, property in that area. Masks. Yeah. What are they going to buy? You got to be toys. Well, later, we've come here to buy milk. Oh, well, that's closed down. No. See, when they said it originally, they don't ever say the word masks. They just said, let's pretend we're buyers. I'm like, buyers of what? Real estate in a company town? I was so confused. I like the idea that they're like, we're here for the dairy. Are that closed down? Well, I guess we're over here. We can do masks instead of milk. Why not? So the owner of the hotel has an Irish accent, which seems perplexing to me, I guess. I didn't realize the entire town was literally Irish, and that was confusing.
I mean, I guess that can happen, but it seems like if they've been there for generations, I guess I don't know the timeline.
I thought that too, but it turns out they're not there for generations, so that makes more sense later.
Yeah, okay, got it. All right,
but at the time, I was like, what is happening?
I mean, to be fair, this movie was just like, oh, we're going to be very racist, and then we're going to give you a bunch of, like, no context Irish town in the middle of, what area is this? Midwest, probably?
I'm sure it told me, and I don't remember. Oh, no, Northern California.
Oh, right. They had the scroll at the beginning. I totally forgot.
Yeah, classic Santa Mira, Northern California.
Is that a real place? I don't know if it's real. It doesn't sound like a real place.
I don't know.
Okay. You're closer than I am. Go
I sure
look.
am. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll drive another state away. Let's find out.
You just drive around like, hey, has anyone heard of Santa Mira? Did I get to Santa Mira? Like, you can look it up, but nah, you want to do the old-fashioned way.
The West Coast is just one giant state anyway.
It pretty much is.
So Dan sneaks off to check the registry to see if the older man, apparently named Harry, was there, which he was, and he pays while he's there. And as the owner is showing her the room, he points out Mr. Cochran driving past, praising him as a true man and a great genius.
As opposed to a fake man.
And a fake genius.
Well, we know plenty of those, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, a family in an RV pulls up. They're very, like, Willy Wonka 80s family. Crotchety kid who refuses to listen to his parents, like, the crazy 80s outfits.
So not murderous chocolatiers, but rather the kids who are murdered by the murderous chocolatier.
Quite possibly. And then another woman pulls up angry that her company sent her to that hotel again. I guess she didn't want to stay there.
What other option is there in this town?
I do not know. Outside of the town and the drive-in beats me.
I want to stay at the fancy hotel.
They decide to stay the night, and he offers to get another room or sleep on the floor in the car, but she's all like, where do you want to sleep? And now they're suddenly making out, which I thought was really weird because prior to that point, It's not like I hadn't really thought about, I kind of thought about it, but mostly I just thought they were going to go like tag team
they had no chemistry,
Like they had
saying.
like there was nothing to suggest that these two people were interested in each other. I was like, oh, okay, sure, because you need your obligatory nudity in your 1982 film.
Right, like I knew they were going to hook up the minute they put a man and a woman together because in the 1980s.
Genuinely, it was just like he looks old for his age. I think he's probably not as old as he looks. She looks young for her age, and so like I was just in my head, and they didn't like get flirty with each other or anything, and like do the eyeball thing where they look at each other or like look at each other's bodies. Yeah, okay. Ooh, I'm interested in you. Nothing suggested these two people were going to get together. My brain was not there. I was thinking, murderous masks or whatever. Like
this explains a lot about where your focus is, Danielle. I mean,
normally I would think that, but I just did not at all.
I mean, again, I don't think it makes sense for them to hook up. I don't think there's been any build up or reasonable character reason. I just think obviously like, movies got to follow these cliches, and so it's going to have them hook up.
Right. And I did think about it when they were in a hotel room together, but then he seemed very genuinely like, do you want me to sleep on the floor? I could go sleep in the car. And then she's like, where do you want to sleep? And I was like, why?
Look, can a woman express her sexuality, Danielle, without you thinking it's gross?
Yeah, just
don't be so regressive, Danielle. Okay. Don't judge her taste.
Convince me that these two people should be together.
All right. Well, she clearly has the hots for him. That's all that matters.
Sure. So at 6 p.m., an announcement goes over the city's loud system that curfew is now in effect. And you see people... I don't know.
There's a murderer about. Get curfew going.
Yeah, the weird thing is this plays into nothing. There's no reason for this scene. So you see people closing doors, taking in pets, and the voice tells them to have a pleasant evening, and a camera patrols the city streets. You see it on the top of the posts and stuff.
Oh, like automated cameras?
Yeah. For some reason, shop is still open, which is confusing, and it looks like a liquor store because Dan leaves it with like a bottle. But I was like, if there's a curfew, one, why is the store open? Two, is like, are the people who don't live there allowed to leave? Like, what are the rules of this curfew?
That is perplexing, Danielle. You're right.
Yeah. So the Dr. Dan, runs into this like homeless or drunk person. It's a little unclear. The man asks if he can take a drink from his bottle, and then Dan complies, asking him, what's the big deal with the like Cochran situation? Like everybody talks.
I've asked that question myself many times.
And the man tells him that he completely revitalized the town, but brought all his workers from the outside. He wouldn't hire him, a local man.
So where are the other locals?
I assume they just live in the town, but they don't work at the factory. Or maybe they left the town. Beats me.
That's very... Okay, cool.
Maybe they run the shops.
Good questions.
But apparently, Cochrane brought all his people over from Ireland. So I assume these Irish people who speak in Irish accents are first generation.
Makes sense now. Airtight movie.
So he asks Dan for $1 and tells him to watch out. The cameras are all over and they're probably watching them now. He tells him he's heard some rumors, but he won't elaborate and just says it's going to be their last Halloween because he's going to burn it down. Okay,
who's going to burn it down?
The drunk
Cochrane?
man. No,
the drunk man's going to burn it. Okay, good. He's the hero so far.
Not for long. The drunk man wanders through what appears to be a junkyard where he seems to live, but he's pretty immediately approached by men in suits who rip off his head like no big deal.
Sure. Obviously, the man in suits can rip skulls apart, but they can rip heads off pretty easy.
I know, why not? It's a pretty good scene. Looks like a head got ripped off.
Danielle, you got to get your gore in somewhere.
Meanwhile, back at the motel, Marge Gutman, who is the woman who came in who was like, I don't want to be here. They were supposed to book me somewhere else. She meets up with Ellie as she's out getting a Coke from the vending machine. One assumes she has a Coke in her hand. I don't know where else she would have got it from in the middle of a motel.
And manifested.
Marge is like I said, the woman from earlier. And she is picking up supplies from their factory in the morning for her shop out of town. As she complains that they aren't as good with small businesses as they used to be since they started doing large volume orders, and their products are getting worse. She tells Ellie that her kid was throwing around one of the masks at home, and the trademark little plastic piece with their logo, it's like attached to the back of the mask.
Sure.
It just like fell off, which, never would have done before.
Oh, I find it very hard to care about your mask lady. Sorry.
Well, maybe it's relevant, Sam.
I'm sure it is, but like if I was Ellie in this room, like,
no, yeah, she's totally uninterested. She's like, cool. Well, I'm gonna go back in. Have a night.
I'm so sorry your kid did what a kid does and destroyed his toy, but
yeah, she kind of like casually talks. She pretends like she's there to pick up masks too. But other than that, it's pretty small talky, and she just goes back into her room. So Marge heads back into her room and throws her purse and the mask on the counter, and the little plastic piece falls to the floor. She heads to bed. Meanwhile,
I can't believe that's going to be a plot point.
Wait for it, Sam.
Oh, no.
Dan makes it back to the hotel room or the motel room, and somehow Ellie has sexy lingerie with her. Don't ask me where it came from. Did she pack it in her tiny little bag that she had in the back of the car?
No, she went lingerie shopping after she got the Coke, Danielle. You know the rule. Coke first, lingerie next, then sex.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're nice and bloated and sloshy from all the Coke.
She didn't seem to have another pair of jeans, but she's got some sexy lingerie. So as they lay in bed post-sex, the 2 More Days to Halloween commercial plays on the radio. So
they're in 2 days? It's been that long?
Halloween. Yeah, we're getting closer and closer.
But they skipped like 4 days really quick.
No, remember there was like the post-hospital. There were 2 or 3 days there. They had to drive. That was another day. That's like at least 3 days.
All right. It just went by so quickly.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's past midnight of the day. Who knows? Back to Marge. As she goes to turn off the light, she notices a plastic piece on the floor. The back kind of looks a little weird, and so she picks it up. She's examining it, and it looks like it almost has a little microchip in it.
What? The chips are not in the vaccines, they're in the masks.
Oh no! She takes a bobby pin from her hair, and as she pries at it, a blue light shoots out into her mouth, and her face is blasted open. An insect crawls out of her mouth.
That's not how microchips work.
Well, they do in this movie.
This is the era where hey, computers are new. They must be magic, right? They can do anything.
Dan hears a noise and heads out. There are at least 10 people in lab coats pulling Marge out of the house. And Dan tries to butt in, being like, hey, I'm a doctor, I can help out. But the owner of the motel tells him not to bother. She'll have the best treatment. Mr. Cochrane is in charge of her now. What's Mr. Cochrane, the toys store owner, gonna do? Who knows?
Danielle, I believe we all know, much like in Toys, he's gonna make a robot version of her to be the companion to Robert Williams.
That's what's going on.
That was a wild move. I'm remembering it.
I don't remember much of that movie, I'll be honest.
Well, that's good for me.
Then
Next time we do a partial recall.
It'd be bad. Then Mr. Cochrane himself pulls up. He's a distinguished older gentleman and tries to convince them that she'll be fine. He has a light Irish accent. And she's off to the factory because they, quote, have the most marvelous facility there for emergency treatment.
Why?
You do. I don't know.
Is your factory doing so many accidents that you have an on-site emergency facility, then you got to revamp your, Ocean needs to get in there and do something.
A high-end treatment. Maybe he has it, maybe it's a local hospital for the people who live there. Who knows?
Sure. In the factory.
I don't know, Sam. I laughed. As Cochran steps away, he asks the owner what happened in hushed tones, and the owner says it was a misfire, whatever that means.
I mean, we know what a misfire means, Danielle. We don't know what they're talking about.
Dan wants to head after them, suspicious, but Ellie tells him they can't stand out, and he pulls them back, and they go back to their room.
Yes, we can't stand out. We must have more sex.
Yes. Well, no, they're just talking about what the misfire could possibly mean.
Okay.
Dan calls the lab tech again, asking if she has any updates. And she says it's weird because there's no fragments, if anything. It's just like ashes and car parts. There's no bone fragments or skin or clothes or anything.
Yeah.
He asks her to run the name Connell Cochran and kind of flirts with her.
Isn't that the police's job to run those? Anyway.
Yeah, you would think that the police... This isn't like high-end investigative stuff that's going on here. The cops could have gotten here.
Yeah, like this sounds like basic 101 stuff.
So, unfortunately, he uses the phone at the motel, and it looks maybe like it's tapped. There's a little device connected to the
Sure. I mean, that's obviously
microphone.
what you would do if you're in this weird police state of a town.
Yeah. So they make their way to the factory where Ellie, they make their way to the factory where Ellie pretends to be picking up the mask order her father had picked up previously. And the woman there tells her there must be a mistake because her father, whatever his name was, Henry or Harry, he picked it up himself on the 21st. As they're about to leave, the family from the motel shows up to visit Mr. Cochran. They got like no information. They like just asked her like, oh yeah, I remember him picking it up. He picked it up in his green Buick or whatever it was.
This is why you don't send amateurs to do the investigation.
Yeah. Like, wasn't an SUV, that's something. As they're about to leave, the family from the motel room shows up to visit Mr. Cochran. So before they can like get out the door, Mr. Cochran himself shows up announcing to the room that the father of the family has sold more masks than anybody else, and he wants to congratulate him. This is like, again, very Willy Wonka. Like, let me show you my factory. You're our number one salesman.
I don't think that's how like factories work, but sure.
Well, apparently, like, Mr. Cochran is a big deal in the novelty industry. So this guy and his family are very excited about this trip.
Good for them.
So he congratulates the father on being the biggest salesman, and everyone claps. And he also apologizes to Ellie and Dan about the confusion on the order, and he tells them he's replacing it for free. And then everybody claps again. What a nice man Mr. Cochran is. He's replacing the whole product for free.
He's my hero. Will he have my babies?
Ellie does a very poor job of looking happy, which is funny because at any other time she's the perfect actress. But this one moment, she's like, ew.
Well, maybe she's only pretending to be a bad actress to lull him into a false sense of security.
Maybe. It's kind of a weird look. The family invites them along on their tour, which, again,
why?
I don't know.
Why is there a tour?
I don't know. And Cochran seemed maybe a little surprised or put off by that, but he's like, sure, I guess you can come. Why not?
Why not?
So he gives them a tour of the mask making, which is kind of a cool scene, you know, because a little behind the scenes, they actually show people like making masks and stuff. I like
those like discovery or how to made specials or whatever. Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. They're like walking through the factory and you can see all the behind the scenes stuff, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I'm going to do a little side comment here, Danielle. When I was a kid, we went to Hershey Park once and they had like a factory tour. I was like, oh, cool. But it wasn't. It was this weird, like, you're on like a car on rails, right? Like, that's fine. But like, it's all fake. Like the chocolate making is just like, it's a prop spinning in windows as you drive by that. Like why? Why is this a thing? I don't need to see like a fake, roller thing with Hershey Kisses glued to it. Or probably fake Hershey Kisses glued to it. Anyway, I was like, I don't know, 8. And I was very disappointed that I didn't get to see an actual chocolate factory. And I guess it is nonsense.
Yeah, it's weird that they went, even if it was just like glassed in windows or something where you got to peek in, that would make more sense.
No, it was like going through like It's a Small World, right? Where it's like a bunch of weird animatronic and fake stuff. And like,
this is what the factory would look like if you could see it.
Although, like, it was nothing on the actual machines. It was all, I was so, like, I was very put out.
As you should be. I hope they're doing better.
That's what tells you a lot about me as a child, probably.
Like, I wanted to see a real factory.
I did! I still do! I would love to see a real chocolate factory. Are you kidding me?
I'm sure that exists. You could probably go find it. And
I know, but now I'm too jaded.
Okay. Well, anyway, back at this mask factory.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
no chocolate involved, unfortunately.
Look, the principle is the same. They disappointed me.
So they make it through the mask section, and then they go into like the weird knick-knack novelty section, and the father of the family is very excited. Apparently this room is the Hall of Fame of his novelties.
Isn't the mother still like dead?
What?
The mother of the family here.
No, it's a dad, a mom, and a kid.
Oh, I got confused. I thought the other lady was the mom. I got confused again. Sorry.
No, it's two different. It's like a family in an RV, and then what's her face?
Yeah, I forgot there was another family. The RV family was not this. Yeah, I forgot that. I thought she was the Sorry.
That would have been a whole different tour because they would have been very sad.
That's why I was so confused. All right, I'm losing track of the people
Different
here.
people.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So
that's on me.
The father tells us that Cochran is the all-time genius of the practical joke. He, quote, invented sticky toilet paper, the dead dwarf guy, and the soft chainsaw. They're all his, Sam.
I've heard of none of those, and I can only think of one of those as being even mildly what you call a practical joke, which is obviously the sticky toilet paper. That's genius.
Soft chainsaw.
That's just like a dog toy. I don't understand.
Sam, I don't know. It's like he's throwing nonsense words out.
Who would ever be let's say you're a lumberjack, right? And you go to pick up your chainsaw, and you're like, this feels like the normal weight of an actual chainsaw. Let me pull the starter lever, start my chainsaw up. Yes, that has started up. Oh, I should cut to this tree, and the blade is soft. How did I not see that coming? Like, how is this going to work?
I don't know.
The second someone picks up a chainsaw, like, oh, this is a toy.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I don't know what any of these practical jokes are.
None of them work, except for the sticky toilet paper.
Is it sticky on one side? How would you not know it's sticky?
Yeah, like, you ever try to pull apart, like, a roll of packing tape? It doesn't work. It's very obvious. It doesn't.
Maybe the sticky toilet paper is like a roll of toilet paper that you cannot unroll.
That's just a fake roll, like a piece of plastic, a plastic toilet paper roll.
Yeah, but it would look real and feel real, but you just can't
But it's not sticky.
I mean, it's sticky on the inside, so it sticks together, so you can't unroll it, Sam.
Well, why would you just not make a solid toilet paper roll? Why need to even stick it together? Just make a fake
I don't
roll.
know, Sam. I really just think this guy just said random words put together and wanted to see if anybody would think about it as hard as we did, which nobody has for the first ones.
Danielle, we need all these ideas for our Patreon so people can fund our production of the sticky toilet paper.
Yeah, if you want to fund, check us out. Okay, the tour is wrapping up, and Cochran gives the excited boy one of the pumpkin masks to take home. And the boy wants one of the ones that is yet to be packaged, but Cochran insists he can't have that one because it hasn't gone through the final processing, and he gives him one of the ones that's all wrapped up. The father is very interested in checking out the final processing, but Cochran insists it involves some volatile chemicals, quote unquote.
What?
I don't know. What are you doing at the end of a mask process that involves volatile chemicals that would children?
Yeah. Hey, our masks are the best quality masks. Only the most volatile chemicals are put on them at the very end, so your kid's face gets doused in all of the best hexanes and
not BPA free.
Dichloromethane and DMSO, whatever you want. It's all on there.
So he says it's not safe to enter that section of the factory, which says final processing on the top.
Great, perfect. Obviously, that's the magic chip factory.
Yeah. Dan looks at the door very suspiciously. So they're kind of talking off to the side. He's wandering around the shop or the outside of the shop a little bit. And he notices all these men in suits. And they're just standing in really weird places, like between two cars or in a door frame, but a foot back and just standing there. Just weird
hey, buddy,
whoever
buddy,
told them
do you want to come in?
Yeah, chose really
you
well.
Come in. It's okay.
They're like,
it's just like a cat. Go in or go out. Make up a choice. I'm going to close the door.
It's like somebody was like, what's the weirdest place somebody can stand? And they put those people there. It's quite impressive how weird the spots are.
Just ignore Dave. Whenever he closes the door, he feels left out, but he feels a bit shy. He doesn't want to come in.
It's very funny.
I love it. I want to know every one of those guys' backstory.
Yeah, so he's looking at all the guys in suits, and he's like, "Hey, Ellie, we need to go because these men look strangely familiar, like the men who killed your father." Quote.
What?
Let's go. As they're wandering through the tail end of the factory where the trucks are being loaded for shipping, Ellie notices her dad's car parked in a bank. Because I'm sure, it makes sense to not have that locked up. When you know someone is there asking about the dad's final shipment, you don't, hide the car. What?
Destroy it? I don't, what?
Why'd you keep it?
Yeah.
So she tries to run over to look at it, but two men step in front of the door, stopping her.
And they're like, "Excuse me, ma'am. Would you like to try our sticky toilet paper samples?"
Yes. Back at the motel, they decide they need to leave ASAP. You need to get the police involved or whatever.
Yeah. Now you get the police involved.
Yeah, so Dan tells her to pack up, and he's going to go call the police and see if he can get somebody over there. He tries to get the operator to dial out, but the phone keeps telling him it can't complete his call as dialed. And the commercial for Silver Shamrock comes on. It's one more day till Halloween. Yeah. Unfortunately for Dan, when he left Ellie, he didn't shut the door all the way to the motel room, and she's gone.
Is that what? Do you think she would have Like a cat would have stayed inside if you closed the door all the way. She's capable of operating a door.
No, it's like she's disappeared, and 5 men in suits are standing out in the street.
But why would the door being open or closed have any effect on their ability to, like, abscond with her?
It doesn't, but at least it would have been a slight impediment. But
okay,
apparently they could just walk in.
I thought there was going to be, like, something like the thing from X-Files, where it has to be, like, can't go through a closed door or something.
No.
But, okay. Not
So
interesting. Got it.
So the 5 men, they, like, walk in unison towards the room. He runs, like, to the back end of the room, climbing out the back window as they break into the front, and he dives into a bush, and it's very funny because he's, like, walking down the street, he sees a car about to pass, and he, like, the actor genuinely, like, full on dives into a real bush.
I admire that commitment. Give that man an Oscar.
I laughed out loud. I was like, yeah, you go, boy. Show the stuntman who's boss.
Look, we all know that all the, like, effort that goes into making action stuff look cool, because in reality it looks silly and goofy.
It looked very silly, and it was very funny.
I love that.
So back at the factory, Ellie is pulled out of a car by the suited men, and it goes back to Dan. He's trying a payphone, but he's having the same issue as the Silver Shamrock cars drive through the streets looking for him. They have the logo on the side of the car. So he makes it.
Is the logo of Silver Shamrock?
Yeah.
I figured.
Maybe green and silver. Yeah.
Nailed it. Yes.
So he makes it back to the factory, like runs over there and sneaks inside trying to dodge the cameras. And he hears a noise in the back room and slides. He's like searching all over. He's like trying to find Ellie or whatever he's doing. And he hears this noise in the back room. So he walks up to it and he looks inside and he sees an old woman knitting. So he walks in and he asks her where the girl is, and she totally ignores him. And he goes up and he starts to shake her. He's like, "Where's Ellie? Where's the girl?"
Why would this old lady know? Why do you think this old lady knows about anything?
I have no idea, but it doesn't really matter because the head of the woman falls off. He realizes that she's made out of gears.
So she's a mechanical woman.
Yeah. So as he's staring at her in surprise...
That fell apart from a brief shaking.
Yeah.
Not very well put together.
It's very funny.
You might want to, like, Mr. Cochran, sir, about the heads that keep ejecting from the necks of our dolls, should we maybe, I don't know, attach them in some way? No, it's a feature.
He explains this in just a moment.
I like my explanation better.
So as he's staring at her in surprise, the man in the suit jumps on him. He gets the upper hand, starts punching the guy over and over, the one that attacked him in the suit. He's like punching him over and over in the stomach. And to his shock, his hand slides through the stomach into a pile of oil yellow goo, and it bleeds from the suited man's mouth. He's a robot too, well.
Yeah.
And when Dan pulls his hands out, wires come with it.
So why does this movie decide to go full on, like, Bishop from Alien with, like, the androids and stuff? Like...
I don't know. Guy likes to build toys. I guess he made some robots.
Also, like, I can't believe my joke about the robot from the movie Toys was the real answer to this.
I know when you said that, I was like, no, that is not what happens.
All right, well, wow, I nailed it because I thought
I felt
it was
like
dumb.
I did a very good job of making you seem like you were crazy.
You certainly had me fooled. I thought I was just making a joke. I didn't know I was prescient.
So he's apprehended by 2 other suited men. He seems to lose, like, all will to fight after he finds out that one of them's this, like, android robot thing.
I'd be like, what am I going to do? Fight a bunch of androids? That's not in my job description.
So Cochran appears, of course, with the knitting woman's head, which is a really well done head. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, all right.
And he says the woman was actually a rare piece made in Munich in the 1700s. And he's going to have to find a replacement of it. I don't know. It's just like an old...
Well, were they making robotic knitting women in Munich in the 1700s? Like, was that a thing?
Apparently.
What?
Because the old woman's definitely made out of, like, gears, and then the androids are made out of, like, wires and stuff. So different creatures, obviously.
All right. Because I remember, like, there was the whole thing with Mechanical Turk, but that was obviously a fraud and everything. But
right. I think it feels like maybe they were trying to say that he maybe got his idea from toy making, and like robot toys is how he got his idea for it.
Sure. Perhaps. I just didn't know that, like, even there was a demand for knitting women in...
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
So Dan asks where Ellie is, and Cochran tells her she's resting. But it'll be morning soon, Halloween morning, which will be a very big day for him. And as a medical man, Dan should find it quite interesting.
Okay.
Halloween dawns, and they take Dan into what I assume is final processing. Cochran tells him that the surprising thing is that the internal components of the androids were quite simple to perfect.
Let me guess, really quick. They put a piece of that rock in every mask that they stole from Stonehenge.
I am not going to tell you that. You're going to have to find out.
I just want to make that, I will put that on the record, because that's what I want to get out there.
Wouldn't it be funny if Stonehenge was not remotely involved in this and that was just a random news article that was the beginning? Yeah, that'd be funny. I almost
completely forgot about that. I'm like, oh, there's going to be a big reveal here. It has to be the Stonehenge thing they put in the beginning.
Yeah, I honestly forgot about Stonehenge until the end of this movie. So
yeah.
it's like, even though it was really obvious, when I was like, well, that must be involved somehow. And then I completely forgot about it after that.
I mean, to be fair, they don't even bother to try to connect those
no, they
dots
don't mention
until
it
the
all.
end.
It's like a passing thing.
Great, perfect. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, he says the inside components were quite easy to perfect, but the outside pieces were harder, making them look like humans. But all in all, it was just another form of mask making. And one sneezes.
No, it's not.
So one sneezes, and he's like, "It's very convincing."
Wait. So you programmed them to sneeze?
Yeah, stupid, right? I thought you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, he's made data level androids from Star Trek. And he's like, no, it's just like making masks, which are just rubber molding.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing.
Well, apparently he's really good.
And this is the reason why, 40 years later, we still don't have androids, because they perfected them in the 80s and thought that was a bad idea.
It is a bad idea.
It is. And we learned that from the 80s, and no one's tried to make androids ever since.
Yep. Well, yeah, I doubt that's true.
Yes, Danielle. Okay.
He takes Dan downstairs underground. Dan asks what he's seeing, and Cochran tells him it's advanced and ancient technology, but a good magician never reveals his tricks. Inside the basement room are a bunch of scientists, or at least people in white coats.
So if I take a Stonehenge rock and put a computer on it, I can interface them? What's going on?
Yeah, you can now say it's advanced and ancient technology.
Great, perfect. I love it.
As you
I'm going to sell so
Sam.
many bottles of advanced ancient technology to hippies or whatever.
You probably could.
Yeah. I put a crystal on your computer. Now it's faster.
Anyway, as you guessed, Sam, in the middle of the room is the Stonehenge bluestone. Yeah.
Sure. Is it being hacked up and chipped up to put into the masks?
Maybe.
Yay!
Cochran explains it's an ancient sacrificial circle, Stonehenge. And he tells him he'll never believe how we got it over to the United States. And
I don't believe it.
They will not be telling us that. They obviously had no idea. It's just tongue in cheek. It's like, you'll never
how much better
it.
of a movie would it be if they had an Ocean's 11 style heist or whatever for the Stonehenge? I would watch that movie.
He's magic or something. He says the stone has a particle, a force, and even a particle of it can be devastating. And he shows him one of the plastic pieces they attach to the mask with their logo on it. And he takes him over to a TV.
You cannot see my face right now, but I'm so furrowed and what magic part those stones have been around for millennia, and tourists have been going up to them. They've had to put a fence up around to keep people. No one's been I touched the stone and I exploded.
Well, maybe they just have the right magic attached to it, Sam, or the computer technology.
They didn't have the advanced technology of a microchip that does nothing with a piece of stone glued to it.
Has anybody tried to take a piece of Stonehenge and put it to a microchip? I don't think so.
You got me there, Danielle. Could be the next big thing.
So he takes Dan over to the TV center, showing him Ellie lying on a bed. And Miss Gutman, he explains, Marge, is dead, a victim of a misfire. But what Dan needs to see to understand is a demonstration, and luckily there's one coming right up.
For Ellie, yay!
Yay!
Okay, why is the villain expositing instead of just murdering him?
Great question. I don't know, Sam. He just really enjoys his job.
Okay, well, I mean...
he clearly enjoys his work. You can tell.
You know what? Good for him. It's really nice to see someone who really has a passion for their work and is doing work that they care about.
They bring the motel family into a locked room. This is test room A. The family is waiting for Mr. Cochran, who supposedly wants his opinion on some TV commercials, the father.
You mean the 25 countdown commercials weren't a huge success?
And I did wonder at this point why you would kill your highest seller of your evil masks. So
yeah.
That was
to be fair, it is Halloween now. They're not going to be selling many more.
Yeah, but my brain didn't get there until a little bit later.
Okay.
So the father wonders out loud why they won't take his mask orders for next year. And his wife jokes that maybe they won't have Halloween next year.
Ha 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 ha, boo.
Cochran tells him to roll it, and the TV in the test room turns on. And the commercial says, it's time, our big giveaway. All you kids with your masks, come and gather around the TV set. And the little boy runs forward and puts his mask on. The commercial tells them to watch the magic pumpkin, watch the magic pumpkin. And the pumpkin graphic, very 1982, flashes over and over. The parents continue talking as the son, like, grasps at his ears, and then suddenly the mask is dissolving like a rotting pumpkin, and the kid falls to the ground, insects spilling out of his mouth.
Okay.
The parents stand up and the mother like faints as she looks at her son, and it's some very decent special practical effects. Snakes start coming out of the mask and his mouth, which is like just visible under the mask. The mask's like popped up a little bit, and these like snakes are crawling out of it, and insects are pouring. It's disgusting.
I love this part.
It's great.
I don't understand it. And I don't understand this plan about like, we gotta have all the kids gather in the TVs at the right time to see the commercial. If they're out or trick-or-treating, it's not gonna work.
Correct. We'll get into it a little bit, but not really.
Okay.
That's not going to resolve your question. What if they're not in front of the TV?
Yeah, that's like, I assume if they're never on the TV, then like, if you're trying to kill every child on Earth, let's assume that's his goal.
Uh-huh.
Because why not? And maybe he's trying to sacrifice enough people to summon the mythical witch I've heard nothing about so far. But the most effective way to do that is not to make a mask that requires kids to be in a particular place at a particular time across however many time zones around the entire world or whatever.
Yep, to be fair, you only see the United States in this, so maybe he was just trying to murder enough United States children.
To summon the witch? Got it. Perfect.
Yeah, you ready?
Let's do it.
So the dad tries to get out of the room. He does not go anywhere near his child as the snakes come at him and start to bite at him. And Dan watches in horror as the family is, I don't know, murdered by snakes, I assume.
That's one of the worst ways to be murdered.
Yeah. So Dan's let off. Another commercial plays in small town America, reminding kids to go grab their masks and not to forget the big giveaway that night at 9 p.m. And you see kids running all over buying this like a montage.
Is it 9 p.m. like past their bedtime?
It's post trick-or-treating. I mean, nobody's asleep at 9 p.m. on Halloween. What the heck?
Okay. I mean, sure.
He sees kids running all over buying the masks, putting them on. And like, this is the best part of the whole movie, in my opinion. So like, you see every costume imaginable, but with the masks on. So pirate costumes with the pumpkin head, clown with a skeleton, ballerina with a mask on. Like,
I gotta say, they really limited their appeal by only having 3 mask types.
Right? It's so weird. There's 3 masks. Somehow every child wants these masks. And like, the ballerina with one of the like a witch mask on? What is that nonsense?
I kind of love it. I honestly...
Nobody's doing that. That is not a thing.
I love it. That's to me is I'm on board for throw random mask on top of any other costume. Let's do it.
Like I was a bunny one year for Halloween. Bunny with what? A skeleton mask? What's the plan there? Like,
do it. I love that. Skeleton hilarious. Bunny, Danielle. Why not?
It's just hilarious. Like the costumes are so good. And they're like solid costumes, but just all with masks on. I'm like, well, that's a choice. So yeah. You see the kids across the United States in the mask, LA, Arizona, Ohio, etc. You're just seeing like scene after scene of kids pep these masks trick-or-treating.
So if the giveaway's at 9 p.m.
I guess have this conversation 6-9, Sam, 9-12.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We had this conversation before we started recording about how much time zones suck and how this would be like, you can't coordinate it that way because people are like, oh, it's 9 p.m. here, but 6 p.m. there, but you're having dinner at 6 p.m., so you're not going to be in front of the... I don't know. This not a good plan. Not a good plan.
Maybe it runs twice at 6 and at 9 p.m.
But I thought you needed them all at the same time, I'm assuming, for whatever they need.
I don't know if they need it all at the same time or not, Sam.
But once you start hearing from like, 3 hours...
like when all the children died watching this commercial, like, yeah, it's going to throw things off. I don't know. Maybe, I guess Ohio on East is screwed and the West Coast is fine, Sam.
Okay, that's sort of what I'm getting at here, Danielle.
They show LA, Arizona, Ohio. They show across the United States. I didn't think about time zones. You're correct.
No one ever thinks about time zones because they're dumb.
Because everything else was so insane that the time zones didn't register.
Danielle, one of us has to keep on like the beating on the drum of all the nonsense like that is like immaterial.
Meanwhile, back at the lab tech is trying to get a hold of Dan. She plays with a cog piece in confusion as the phone is not connecting, and a man in a suit moves quietly through her building. One of them grabs a drill from a drawer, and how they know it's there is a real mystery. They just like open
like
a drawer
a medical drill,
and pull the drill out. Yes, it's like a medical drill.
Okay, I didn't know medical drills were just lying around in hospitals unsterilized.
And like, or maybe it's a real drill, but in any case, it's in a drawer, and the guy just like walks up to it, opens it, and takes it out. And I was like,
he clearly has scanners. He's a robot. Then he's got scanners. He's fine.
Okay, sure. She seems to suddenly realize something and starts to call the sheriff. But unfortunately, they drill her brains out. They just
I got that.
her and kill her.
So the police in this movie are
useless,
irrelevant.
You don't see a single police person after that initial scene.
How does that fit into our social commentary discussion we had before the podcast?
Fits in very well. Back at the Silver Shamrock, Dan is all tied up in front of a TV for reasons.
And nowhere to go.
Dan asks Cochran, why would you kill all the children? What are you doing?
And why haven't you killed me yet?
Cochran says he doesn't really need a reason, but he does love a good joke, and it is pretty funny. But obviously, Dan doesn't know much about Halloween. It was the start of the year. It was the start of the year in their old Celtic lands, he says. The barriers would come down between the real and the unreal. The festival of Samhain, or Samhain, I think is how it's actually pronounced. The last great one took place 3,000 years prior, and the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children.
Why? Is that a good thing?
Part of their world is sacrifices for their craft, witchcraft. It's time again to do their 3,000 year sacrifice, I guess.
So, like, he's saying, oh, witchcraft is so cool. We gotta murder a bunch of people for the gift of witchcraft, which does what?
It seems to imply that he is the one that is performing the witchcraft.
Yeah, but what is the witch, like, what does he want to do? He's just like, I want to do magic. I want to entertain a children's party.
It's
like,
just
what is
time
the
to sacrifice to the gods is what he's doing. He's creating a sacrifice. He is making it happen.
To what end?
I don't know. The gods need to be appeased, Sam. Beats me.
They don't need to be appeased. They've been fighting for 3,000 years.
He says the witches do not decide this thing. The planets do. They're in alignment. He's like, he has to
everything
do.
at the wall here. Are they?
He has to do.
The planets are in alignment. We have the angry gods. We have the witchcraft sacrifice. Like, pick a lane, movie.
I don't know if he says anything about angry gods, but that is kind of suggested as to why they would have to suddenly destroy a bunch of children.
But I guess I want a more concrete reason. Like, if I sacrifice this, it'll grant me the power over life and death.
This is not the movie for you. He's just the vehicle from which the witchcraft is coming from. He is the thing that will make it happen.
So there's like evil demon spirits. Like, well, let's just murder some children.
Yeah, I mean, he's the evil demon spirit, I guess.
What do the evil demon spirits get out of that?
Sam, I don't know. Apparently every 3,000 years when the planets are in alignment, they have to murder a bunch of kids. It's just, that is the plot of the movie. I didn't make it up.
I don't think you made it up, Danielle, but I want you to justify it.
I can't do that. It's dumb.
Okay, great. All right. Well, you know what? You convinced me.
I guess, whatever, they have to do it. So Cochran puts a skeleton mask on Dan and wishes him a happy Halloween before leaving, and the TV's on.
What about Ellie? What's up with her?
She's locked in a room somewhere.
Oh, I thought she was...
yet to find her.
Okay.
Dan manages to move the chair forward that he's tied to, and he kicks out the TV, breaking it, and then manages to cut himself out of his restraints. Somehow I wasn't paying attention, honestly, to how he got something sharp.
Shards, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I looked away for a minute.
Why?
I don't know, because this movie sounds more entertaining than it actually is.
Oh, I thought you were like, it got too gross for me or something.
No, I just got like sidetracked or looked down at my phone or something.
Yeah.
I was probably writing notes is what I was probably doing, because that's usually what gets like
So apparently the 1980s anticipate the 2020 attention span.
Yeah. Well, writing notes at the same time you watch a movie, as you know, is hard because you have to keep pausing so you can keep up with what's going on. It takes you like 4 hours to watch an hour and a half movie.
It's a real bummer. We just stopped doing this podcast altogether, Danielle. There's too much time.
It's a lot of time. Luckily, I had a weekend, so...
Yay.
There is a camera in this room, but no one seems to be watching it, and he then tosses
Why is there a camera, then?
Well, because, there's a bunch of cameras all over the place, and the android
that's cameras only good if someone is monitoring them.
Well, the android was monitoring it, but then he's doing double duty or something, because he goes down to his little machine and is like, I've got to do whatever this is, so he's now looking away from the camera, and luckily it was just in time for him to escape.
If you can make androids, just make enough androids to do all the things.
Agreed. And so, Dan tosses his mask onto the camera to block it, and one of the androids then finally notices it went dark and tries to alert Cochran, but he's on the phone schmoozing somebody, who knows. And so Cochran's
what's he got to smooze for? Everyone's going to be dead soon.
I don't know. Dan pulls off a grate and climbs into the air ducts, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I guess they finally realize he's escaped. Dan manages to get to the roof and goes into the building. He's trying to find Ellie, and he uses the phone to call his wife, trying to convince her to get rid of the masks. To be fair, he is super incoherent in this scene. He's just and then they murdered him, and then there's masks. Wouldn't I be like, are you drunk? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm on your side there.
Yeah, like, it's
He's
completely
not doing a good
incoherent
job
conversation.
convincing, yeah.
And like, who's gonna, like, would you believe them? That,
No.
like, you know, like,
No,
even if you
not a
liked
bit.
the person or usually believe the person, you would be like, I don't know, that's crazy. And she thinks because the kids didn't like his masks that he's just jealous and like trying to...
Well, I wouldn't go to that conclusion, but still.
Yeah, so she's like angry at him and she ends up hanging up on him, and I think somebody comes in and he just gives up and runs off. So I don't know, kids are dead. He somehow finds the room.
He didn't like those kids anyway. He barely saw them this entire movie.
I know, he's terrible dad. So he somehow finds the room Ellie's in. I don't know, just won't look through all the windows, beats me. And he rescues her.
Magic.
He pulls her out of the room. And,
the same way that android found the drill.
Yeah. And Cochran watches him from the security camera and sends out the androids to try and catch them. It's 8:30.
Go, my pretties, fly!
Yeah, exactly that. Just like monkeys. It's 8:30 at night. Commercial comes on in half an hour.
Yeah. How are they going to stop it? They'll blow up every TV in America?
Maybe they won't stop it, Sam. Maybe all the children die.
Okay, well, that would be a movie, yeah.
It might be this movie. You don't know.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I just think, like, what is the point of the movie then? A guy tries to do something and fails. The end.
Well, it's a Halloween movie. That sometimes they end a little questionable.
Okay.
Ellie and Dan sneak into the Stonehenge room using a rack full of masks, and this is such a good scene. So they just walk behind. Yes, they walk behind it in front of all the androids. So it's just a big open room. There's a shot of the androids. Yeah, it's a shot of the cartoon. Shot of the androids working. They're like in a semicircle. They're like all looking down at their computers, and the cart just like walks itself across the room in front of them, and none of them look up or notice.
I didn't realize how accurate my Scooby-Doo comparison was going to be.
It's really amazing.
Love it.
Dan sneaks into the control section and unaccountably knows what all the buttons do. It's just one of those 80s boxes that just has random buttons all over that nobody would really be able to work. And he just pushes a bunch and manages to play the commercial overriding their systems. And like while they're distracted being like, why is that playing? What's going on? He grabs a box of the plastic trademark things and runs to the catwalk above the workers. And then he empties the box on them, and there's just like a never-ending supply of these little plastic buttons. Like it would just really just come down to one big wave, but instead it just goes on.
Are the workers the androids or the human?
Androids.
So this magic affects androids?
Apparently, I mean, it's lasers. It affects everybody, Sam.
I thought it was like bug summoning magic that like drains your will to live.
Well, it just kind of blows them up, and maybe bugs come out of them. I didn't notice the bugs, but they definitely...
The bugs and the snakes seem to be pretty critical in the previous demonstration.
I would agree. Then the bug comes out of the lady's mouth as well, but maybe because they're human, and maybe I just wasn't looking enough at the floor where they were all collapsed. But he empties the box on them, lasers shoot out, hitting all the androids and wiping them out. They all fall to the ground.
I'm just suspicious that magic laser witchcraft would destroy androids, but that is a sense I thought I'd have to say in this podcast, but here we are.
I think part of it too is it hits the computers, so there's something electrical going on as well.
Okay, sure, why not?
And Cochran is now alone in the room, and he looks around his concern as a blue light circles around the computer stations. It's just like a circle. The computer stations are just in a big circle, and this like blue light starts spinning around it.
Okay.
And then the Stonehenge begins to glow, and Cochran...
The stone from Stonehenge.
Yeah, the blue stone begins to go blue, and Cochran glances up at Dan and Ellie, slow clapping his hands at them.
What?
Like, congratulations,
you fought my
won.
plan by pushing random buttons and dumping a box of buttons on the floor. Great plan. Really genius chess move there, buddy.
Yeah, and then a light blazes out from the stone into the circle, and Cochran's body lights up and then dissipates. And then Stonehenge explodes, taking the factory with it.
And killing Dan and Ellie.
No, they managed to make it out.
Nonsense.
They make it out of there while there's fire going on everywhere. And they drive away. And Dan turns on the radio. He's trying to find a station that's like reading the time to know what time it is. I don't know. Maybe there's no clock in his car. And he worries that they won't be able to stop it. He's like, how much time do we have? And Ellie remains quiet. And he looks over at her, asking her what's wrong. And then her hand darts out, trying to squeeze his skull.
Because she's a robot. She got robotified.
Obviously. He swerves off the road and into a tree. He stumbles out of the car, and Ellie's arm is hanging from the open door. He grabs...
So wait a minute. If she was a robot, why did she try to stop him before he murdered Cochran?
Real mystery.
She could have like strangled him or ripped his skull apart at any point.
Maybe she hadn't been trained yet.
Cochran sucks. His plan sucks. let me make these super sophisticated androids, and I'll replace, like, I can duplicate them real quick. Like, he made an Ellie android real
really
quick.
fast, yeah.
But I'm going to tell her, let him foil my plan first, or at least murder me, then try to stop him.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that I'm 99.9% sure that Ellie and Dan run up to the catwalk and, like, empty the box together. So she's just helping in the murder, I guess.
Yeah, program your robots better, Cochran. Jeez.
Or maybe she didn't know what the box was. Maybe she wasn't smart enough to know that.
But why didn't she, like, stop immediately? When he opened the door into her cell, she could have grabbed him and closed the door and locked them both in there. Job done.
Do not know.
Terrible robot, terrible programming. Cochran deserves to lose.
Because for a further plot twist, that's why, Sam.
Doesn't make any sense. I hate it.
So he grabs a piece of metal from his car and he whacks at her with it, her wires turning and glitching as she collapses to the ground. And he gets back into his car, and there's a last-ditch attempt by Ellie's arm to strangle him, but he manages to break free.
That's fun.
And then one last hurrah of the headless body, which attacks him but then collapses on its own.
So, like, I feel like Cochran foiled himself here.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Because if he didn't have Ellie, Dan would just have been looking for her without, he would have been stuck looking for her. He never would have found her and never would have exacted his button dumping plan to murderize his other androids and Cochran himself.
That's quite possible. Cochran also could have, like, killed Dan much earlier instead of letting him be trying to kill him with the commercial.
That doesn't even make sense, like, in a Bond villain way.
So he runs into town in his last 8 minutes, yelling at the gas station attendant that he needs to use his phone. And he calls the TV stations, local, national, no idea how this works, and tells them that they need to take the commercial off the air. He's just, like, explaining. He's like, I don't know,
yeah,
tell them there's
you
a
got
bomb
it, random
or something.
buddy.
Take it off, and everybody's gonna die. Like, he's just, like, freaking out on the phone. He somehow convinces them to stop the commercial on 2 of the channels, but the third, he can't get them to do it. He's, like, on the phone with them, and that somehow it starts to play.
There are only 3 channels, or he only has to call 3 stations
to
cover the
channels, I assume. 1982, I don't know.
Yeah, but you still have to, like, look, like, they're not local. You don't, like, broadcast for one channel from one location.
Sam, I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. He's got him to do the 2, but the third one starts playing, and he's screaming at the phone. He's like, stop it! But the commercial keeps running, and this kid, like, runs into the gas station because it just gotten treats out. I guess the gas station's giving away candy. And the kid puts on his mask, starts watching. He's like, stop the commercial! Stop it! And that's the end. Cut to credits.
Boo!
I knew you'd hate that ending.
I don't hate the ending because he failed. That's fine. I hate the ending because, like, who cares?
It's such a crazy movie.
Like, Cochran's dead. I don't understand, like, what is the kids are going to die. That sucks. But, like, to what end?
I don't know.
Would they even die? They destroyed the Stonehenge, the bluestone. Maybe the spell is broken?
Maybe. I don't know how much the little piece of Stonehenge being in a microchip and a mask really matters. If there's no major Stonehenge to, like, react against.
I was on board with this movie. Like, it was crazy, but I was on board up until Cochran explained his plan. I'm like, or didn't explain his plan. Just like, I'm going to murder a bunch of children for the fun of it?
Because it's time, Sam.
Time for what?
Time to murder the children. It's every 3, it's like blood sacrifice
what happens if he doesn't murder the children?
I don't know, Sam. They don't have their wicked witch powers. I don't know. It's real mystery. I don't know if he explains it and I just didn't hear it, or if he just genuinely doesn't explain it.
At least in a movie like Cabin in the Woods, we learn about, like, oh yeah, this is preventing the apocalypse is why we do this, or whatever. We're appeasing these angry spirits.
Right.
But here he's just like, I just like murdering kids with masks, and everyone's on board with that for some reason.
What a movie. What a movie.
It certainly exists, Danielle. I can tell you that much. Also, where's the witch?
He's the witch. Cochran is the witch.
Okay. Well, he doesn't do much witchcraft.
No, they really undersell the witch part.
You mean oversell it, because he does nothing.
Okay, oversell with the title, but, like, underplay. That's what we're looking for.
The witch does nothing. I wish there was more about the technology, because that could be a fun twist of, like, ooh, like 1980s when computers are just becoming a thing. There's like this, that'd be a great, like, computers can be used for evil and witchcraft. Like, that could be fun.
This movie, man.
But they didn't do anything with
Stonehenge to murder children in masks.
But no, Cochran wasn't an android, was he?
No, but he created them. They're helping.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Great. Are all the townsfolk also androids? Are they...
Beats me. I kind of assume they're witches, maybe.
I assumed that he made just a bunch of androids. That's why he didn't hire any of the locals.
Yeah, but then there's that, like, Irish dude that runs the motel. Is he
Also
in on
an android.
Is he also an android?
They're all androids. The androids all the way down.
I don't think the one that runs... Well, maybe the one that runs the motel is, but he's pretty chatty and stuff. The other ones are very, like, in their suits and very kind of quiet and neutral. Don't say anything.
I mean, Ellie managed to pull it off, so I mean, she can make a chatty android.
She doesn't talk. It's really weird. I thought it was weird that she wasn't talking, but I didn't think that too hard about it because they were kind of, like, on the run and stuff.
I gave this movie too little credit. Well done.
Yeah. I don't think she talks. There may be one scene, maybe, where she says something, but I don't think she does.
All right. Well, I hate the plan. I don't hate the execution, except for the commercial thing. That sucks. Otherwise, Cochran, perfect plan.
Almost worked if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
And it's so upsetting because it would have been much cooler if it was just like a movie about him trying to steal Stonehenge to complete this ritual. And it was all about them trying to foil this heist.
Yeah, that didn't happen. It was already gone.
No.
9 months prior.
All right, well.
Just in time to have a baby Stonehenge.
No, what? No. I hate that.
It's a great movie for book retorts. Spook retorts.
I truly am spooked by how little sense that made.
That's why it's great.
What a thing. Thank you for sharing, Danielle. I feel enlightened about the anthologies of the Halloween movies. I can't wait to go back and watch them, how they explain everything perfectly in all the Halloween movies.
I think most people just pretend this one doesn't exist.
And there's no Jamie Lee Curtis, which is also upsetting to me.
I know. Yeah, it's a real problem.
They should have done like they did with like Miracle Workers, where they have the same actors in every movie, but they're just like different characters.
That could have been fun.
Yeah. Maybe if Jamie Lee Curtis was Ellie.
Sure, and the actor that plays Michael Myers was Dan.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, no. I don't want to see that happen. That should have like that takes the love story to a whole other level. No. That's a different movie, but yes. All right. Well, if you out there want to suggest a reason why the child sacrifice is necessary for something,
yeah, let me know if there was something in there I just like.
I would love to have an explanation for why the child sacrifice makes any kind of sense.
It felt like they just had to do it to renew their power or something, but I don't know.
But what power? What power do they have?
Witchcraft power, Sam. I don't know. It's simultaneously somehow offensive to like multiple communities at the same time.
It's like mashing together all these different things. It's like, yeah, they're all evil. Don't like that. Anyway, if you have an explanation, please send it to bookretorts.com.
Mm-hmm. If you'd like to support our Patreon for sticky toilet paper.
you do so at patreon.com/bookretorts.
I don't want to steal it from you. I don't usually do the Patreon thing.
And I didn't know if you remembered or just forgot.
I remembered it, but then I felt like I was taking away from you.
That's okay, Danielle. I almost took away your social
media.
Yeah.
Yes, you can contact us there as well.
Whatever. This is a real mess of an episode, Danielle. I think our brain's so broken from trying to comprehend Halloween Season of the Witch that we can't even do a proper outro.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Book Retorts. Yeah.
Sure, one of them. Whatever. Zitter. Boo. Maybe it won't be for very long. Don't count on that one to last. All right, well, I guess until next time, instead of checking your kids' candy for razor blade, check their masks for pieces of Stonehenge.
It's a real problem every season.
Yes, you gotta be careful. There's a season of the witch, apparently, so every season, watch out for that.
We're in the season of the witch.
Well, until next time, stay
Take care, everybody.
Ooh, you don't like that?
Spooky.
There you go. I'll get into it.
Share this. I want to show it to you with all the kids in their weird costumes, but they're like with the masks on.
Okay, I'm excited to see this. The juxtaposition of good costume with bad mask.
Especially good at night when they have all the trick-or-treaters towards the end.
Yeah. That is a choice to put a witch hat on a pumpkin.
This one's a ballet dancer with a pumpkin head on a skateboard.
Wait. I just want to talk about the kid who put the witch costume on the pumpkin instead of the witch mask.
That's what I mean. It's like
nonsense
costume.
Why put the pumpkin in the you have the witch costume, get the witch mask. Come on.
Best part of the whole movie.